I've been using the Apple Watch Series 7 since Wednesday night. What's that, 4 days now? And one thing that I'm hearing a lot is that this is not a massive update from the Series 6. But when has an Apple Watch been a massive update from the previous one since the S2? And people understand, it's mostly enthusiasts who are complaining about this. A lot of people don't upgrade their Apple Watches for 4 years. These are devices that don't need to be upgraded every 2 years. They can only do so much. But it is a massive upgrade because the people who are upgrading are mostly coming from S2s and S3s. Like, think about that. An S2 or an S3 where the display is 50% smaller. An S2 or S3 where the battery life is not as good as the day they bought it because it's been years since they bought that Apple Watch. The S2 or S3 that doesn't have the same amount of sensors as the newer S6 and S7. Those are the people that are going to appreciate this device. Now, I personally thought it looked exactly like a Series 6 when I took it out of the box. Like, it's hard to tell. But as soon as that display brightens up, and it looks good, trust me, it does, that millimeter bigger display with the thinner bezels makes a difference in day-to-day use. Especially if you're an older individual, like I'm 40, I'm starting to get a little bit older. I'm wearing glasses all of a sudden, something I never had to do before. Having those bigger icons because of watchOS 8 and the bigger display makes a massive difference. Like, I was going for a run the other day, and usually Siri tells me every kilometer my pace, right? But it's still a habit to me to take my wrist and look at it to see exactly how far I've run and the exact heart rate I'm getting right now. And when I did this, I was like, wow, that millimeter doesn't seem like much, but it makes a difference when I'm looking at it. And because of that, the icons are bigger, so if you have fat fingers, pressing those icons will be easier for you. And even though the display is refractive, meaning it kind of goes over the edges, it just looks good, and you're gonna see that if you're coming from an older Apple Watch. Now, I'm still not a fan of edge displays, but on a small device like this, you kind of have to do it because there's only so much space you have. Is Apple utilizing it to its best potential? Maybe. I mean, icons are still super close together, but I'd rather have them close together so that I can press them easier than having them spaced apart for symmetry. But they didn't improve the display. It's the same one as the S6. It still gets just as bright. The only difference is it stays 70% brighter indoors if you have the always-on display on, which I personally turn off because when I go like this, it's so fast now that I just don't need to have it. There's a new full QWERTY keyboard, which I thought was really cool, but I don't know, swiping your fingers on it is technically easier than tapping the words yourself. The accuracy for me is around 75 to 80%, but if you want to get a message out to somebody on a watch, just use voice dictation. I found it to be the easiest method out of all of them. The other thing I want to talk about is the bands. I'm not a fan of the Apple silicone band, the standard one that comes in the box. I just don't like the way it feels on my wrist. It has this like slimy silicone feel, and it's fine for like an hour or two, but after a few hours, I'm like, get this thing off my wrist. If you're buying an Apple Watch and you're unsure which band to go with, and you don't want to spend more for a braided loop, which I still think is the best one, just go for the nylon one. I've literally worn this for an entire year, and I know this is disgusting, really disgusting actually. I've never washed it. Ugh, actually it stinks. I probably should wash it. And it has been so comfortable. Like when I'm wearing this, it feels great on the wrist. Now this is the first time I've worn a braided solo loop, and fun fact, there's actually even though it's made out of yarn, there is some silicone embedded or interwoven inside of it, but it doesn't feel like the typical silicone band. To me, this one is definitely the most comfortable, and I love the fact that I can just like take my wrist, put it on like this, and then walk out the door. Now, Apple did add a few new watch faces. This is the first time in a long time that I've just worn a standard watch face. This is their contour style face, and look, it may not be your favorite, but I love how they utilize the edges for the time to show you how big the display is. I'll probably use it for a while, but knowing me, I'll probably go back to the modular watch faces just because you can jam a lot more information on it. Even their modular duo, which is their new one, allows you to pack so much information on it. So if you're someone who wants to like quick glance the weather or the time or how many steps you've taken, then you're probably gonna prefer that watch face instead. Now, battery life is interesting because it's exactly the same as the Series 6. I didn't see an improvement there. I can wear it for about 18 hours and I need to charge it, which I never get to because I'm intermittently charging it throughout the day. But what I noticed was it charged a lot faster. The cable that comes with the Series 7 supports fast charging. It's a little bit longer. And if I put this thing on the charger in 10 minutes, I'll get 10%. In 1 hour, it will be fully charged. This is a big difference compared to Series 6, where it would take up to 2 hours to charge it fully. Now, will that cable be able to charge your Series 6 faster? No, it's still gonna charge it at the same speed, but it does work with the Series 6 too. As for performance, zero difference. I didn't notice a difference in speed improvements. In fact, the S7 that's inside of here is the exact same processor as the S6 that's inside the Series 6. They just name it a little bit higher for marketing purposes, but the processor they're using is exactly the same. So don't expect a performance difference if you're upgrading from the Series 6. And quite frankly, it's fine. Like, I don't understand what else they could possibly do to make this watch feel faster, because everything you run on it runs like it should. Now the big question, do you upgrade? Well, if you're coming from the original Apple Watch, obviously. If you're coming from S2 or S3, definitely. If you're coming from S4, maybe. Like, how is your battery capacity? Is it really low? Are you having a tough time getting through the entire day? If so, then definitely upgrade. Series 5, Series 6, don't bother. The differences are so small that I don't think you're gonna find it to be a big update. The only certain situation is if you're using a Series 5 cellular and you use it to stream and listen to podcasts without your phone. I found the modem inside a Series 5 to be really poor, and it would cause intermittent disconnects when you're running. Sometimes it'd have difficulties transitioning from Wi-Fi to cellular. That might be the only situation the upgrade might be worth it. But overall, the Series 7 is a nice iterative improvement, and the bigger screen is obviously welcome. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.